Welcome everybody to our 2019 Animal Communication Mentorship Program. I've been told that this is going to be one of the best years of our lives. So let's manifest that. And the beginning will be that you're attending this program. What a great way to start off the year and to start off springtime. For those who don't know me, I will introduce myself a little bit more formally. And for those that do know me, maybe I'll be adding a few extra things in that you didn't know before. So I'm going to be your teacher, your coach, your mentor for the next year, 2 or 3, depending on what you decide. My career path did not begin with animal communication. It wasn't a lifelong dream of mine. It wasn't on the dream board either. But instead, I lived in a totally different country. Within that country, I found myself on the way to becoming a detective. No ordinary detective. I was looking at major incidences and major investigations of all sorts in the Midlands, in England. Little did I know that my life was going to be turned quite upside down, that I would be leaving the country and exploring the West, going to California. At first, I began with a year's sabbatical. My exploration included the idea of exploring horse whispering, going to one of the best horse whisperers of our time in California. Well, soon did I realize and soon did I discover that I wouldn't be going back home, leaving a lot of security behind, a lot of a safety net, a career, and ultimately one that everybody saw that you should be doing for 10, 20, 30 years. In my day, and in the place that I grew up, it was normal to find security, to get married, have children, look forward to your retirement, and go from there. My life was never ordinary. It was somewhat extraordinary, growing up in Germany and then returning to England. And I'd like to say that I followed my calling, but I feel like everything either showed me the way, illuminated the way by showing the right path, and many doors closed. I'm not exceptional where I listened to that and listened to the calling. I feel like I went up the wrong path, so much so that a head-on car accident slowed me down physically. My challenges with the quantity of empathy I had for everybody, for the police officers, first responders, for the animals who came through my life as the RSPCA investigative officer, as well as all the children, the women, the victims. My empathy was far too big, and I was slowed down there too. So really, maybe I didn't listen to anything, didn't listen to where I was supposed to be going, and hence physically, mentally, emotionally, I was slowed down to take a hard look at what I was doing. A hard look. So much so that the path then changed, the doors opened, and I found myself not only with a sabbatical, but with the opportunity after studying horse whispering to go to California. And then I was on the path to becoming a horse whisperer. That I did do, and that I did become. I dedicated my life to the horses. See, England is quite different. You have a community around you. Everybody knows everybody by name. You know what you're doing, where you're heading. People will knock on your door, ring the doorbell, come by any time. Quite different to California. We had a close-knit community there. Only those in the bunkhouse were we surrounded by. The communities varied somewhat. And at first I found myself on the ranch and then in a little cottage just over the road at an equine rehab center. The community was somewhat different. We were all horse people where I was. And not only did we work by day, but by the evenings, we watched the horses too. If we weren't watching the horses, we were taking care of them or talking about them. All of us stayed together. I became the head instructor at Monty Roberts' facility in California. A prestigious title, an incredible opportunity, learning to listen to the horses, learning to whisper to them. We focused our time on body language. That's how it was in those days. An awful lot of body language. Understanding the herd dynamics, the physiology of the horse, the psychology of the horse, as well as understanding ourselves. We would learn the gestures to communicate with the horses. We would talk about energy, and what it was truly about was movement, the energetic movement of creating stimulus. There was no talk about the energy between ourselves and the animals and what that felt like, or projecting the energy from within. It was about movement and stimulus. We might have talked about visualization, but the visualization we were referring to was about holding a picture so the body could follow. It was not about telepathy from one mind to the other. It was about clarity, so that the muscles would know what to do, that you had an idea and a plan, that maybe you didn't fall in love with it, but you were flexible, but certainly not about a belief system that the animals could hear us that way. All of my energy went into it. 6-7 days a week, 10-12 hours a day. I had nothing else. I focused in on the horses for years on end. I probably didn't even know there was such a thing as animal communication, or Dr. Dolittle as I refer it to be. But one day was a little different. I was in the 40 stall barn. It was the stall close by the alleyway where you could walk all the way through the barn. It was filled with racehorses, 10 horses per groom, 40 horse stalls, 4 grooms there. I was also a groom at the time, pre-instructorhood, and I took care of the 3-stall barn and the 5-stall barn. But when I graduated to being an instructor and ultimately the head instructor, I took care of the school, teaching people about the language of Equus in its rawest form, with the clarity, not including energy and telepathy. So the one day I walked through the barn, very clearly I saw pictures, exceedingly bright in color. I knew they weren't my thoughts. They were exceedingly random, very spontaneous. The clarity was unquestionable. The images I saw related to the racehorse, including the jockey and the jockey colors. I don't recollect everything that went on that day, but it was enough that it made an impact that I took it to the head trainer. I didn't say, a horse has just spoken to me. I will have said, it seems to me like, or maybe I'm feeling this. Could it be possible that? Do you know about the history of? Ways that I didn't come across as too strange, and ways that could be validated. This very random act was the first act of many. Things started to change, and I would notice these scenes. They would be random. And I noticed it so much that it was different, that it wasn't my thought. Just like you might have in the times that you've experienced animal communication. I could integrate it into my horsemanship to realize that the horses were talking. I got intrigued enough to then say, what about these horses that know that they're coming back from a show, or their mate from next door had been down to practice, maybe at a track and was coming home? What about the horses and the mares and foals that knew they were going to be weaned, or the horse that felt he was leaving the next day? What was that all about? Surely it couldn't all be body language. I got so intrigued that I found myself drawn to and experiencing animal communication. Finding people that were like-minded, exploring the art, studying the art. I didn't need it to be my primary piece in my life. I wasn't seeking a career in those days. I already had one. My path was destined. I was to be a horse whisperer, but not just any horse whisperer, one who was recognized as one of the top in the world, the head instructor at Monty's. Now, when you're the head instructor at a place, there's certain rules you have to abide by, or certain expectations that people have when they travel around the globe and across the world to see you. They're not looking for telepathy. They're not looking for energy healing. And although I put my hands on many horses throughout the years in support of their health and well-being and facilitated Reiki energy healing, that was not my primary role, and it wasn't something necessarily that was being endorsed. So you find yourself not mentioning it, not exploring it fully, not embracing it as much as you could. But what happens is you begin to change. No longer can you hold back. No longer are you the person you once were. You see things differently. Your eyes are clearer. And as much as I explored the language of Equus with deaf horses, blind horses, horses who were in rehab, young horses, old horses, true partners, race horses, quarter horses, you name it, they came through the doors. I knew that there was more to it than the language that we could see in front of us. So ultimately, I was truly following the call of the horse. It had become my life's work. It had become my mission. I wasn't going to stop there. I would study Reiki. Reiki to the Reiki master level, Karuna Reiki, Holy Fire Reiki. I knew there was more out there to change my vibrational frequency, to heighten my awareness, to truly embrace all the possibilities of healing. And with it, I studied the language in another way, so that I could become more familiar with all that was happening to me, with the pictures I was seeing, the emotions I was feeling. What once was told to me that my emotions were shooting off that page and I had too much compassion and that it might go against me because I wouldn't be able to handle it, or I wouldn't have the right help and would have roller coasters and emotions. Now these emotions were important. Instead of having a barrier and a guard up and protect myself from all the pain and hurt that I had found over the years, from people coming and going, from losing ultimately my family, a marriage, my horse, my home, a lot of the guards had come up. I didn't want that to be my life. I didn't want to be so shielded and guarded that I couldn't feel that the protection had overtaken everything. Animal communication would help me with that. For you can only go as deep as you're willing to go. And animal communication is a language of love. You learn to love yourself. You learn to love those around you as much as you can unconditionally. You learn to love the animals unconditionally, to feel the love towards them. At first, maybe you open the door a little bit and there's a crack that you say, okay, I can love those legs of those daddy long legs. Or I can see the joy in the spirit of the squirrel. I'm going to stop and admire the hummingbird. I'm going to stop my car every time I see a deer and feel their love. There's so much to it that we fall into our heart space through animal communication. We come out of our heads moving into our heart. That busy mind chatter that we have, we're looking to be in the present time, like so many animals do their best to be. Many are in the present time. Many hold the past in their cells or in their body, but many move through it, and they teach us just how to do that. My life's work has become giving a voice to the voiceless. I did not know that necessarily at 17, working in London, or at 21, working for the British police force. But all along, I gave a voice to the voiceless. It was the two-legged kind, learning how to speak and have conversations, dialogues with young through to old, with the poor on the streets and those blessed with money, with those suffering or being harmed, and those joyful. No matter who they were, I was coming into contact with them. That very gift of learning how to communicate and connect with people fully and caring about them has carried forward in the animal communication. You need that to be able to dialogue with animals, to give them the voice, to listen to them. And you can only listen if you really care. You can only dialogue if you're involved in the conversation. And you learn to help them bring down those barriers and express themselves. No matter if they're an insect, a reptile, our furry friends, or the giant elephants. All creatures, great and small, come our way. That's what you're signing up for. You're signing up to find your personal gifts. There's so many personal gifts to be had. So many, from touching the lives of these animals in rescue situations. We deal with many rescues. Hundreds of thousands of dollars have gone to rescues from the West Coast to the East Coast and beyond around the globe. Voices for the voiceless have been given in almost all continents, from the United States, Canada, Central America, Europe, New Zealand, Australia. A voice has come their way, even all the way to the United Emirates and Dubai, South Africa, Morocco. See, the doors open when you can talk to the animals, be it that natural horsemanship led the way for me, and it allowed animal communication to come in, and be it that you will seek what opens the door for you to give the voice to the voiceless. It doesn't matter if we're looking at the top Olympic horse who we give a voice to, because so many people believe that animals can't talk. And so many people say, if only they could speak. Well, they can. You have to learn to listen. The language is unique. It's unique to you. You might see the pictures, hear the sounds, have the emotions that surround you. You could receive all your information and dialogue during dream time, because that's when you're at your most open. You may see colors of the chakras that you've got to learn to interpret, or hear sounds and understand their meanings. See the words and interpret what they mean too, or have that silent movie playing. It's not as simple as learning another language like German or French, Arabic, where you can see what hello means in the other language. For you, it's unique to you. There's no script to say the horses talk through imagery. You've got to learn it. You might feel it in your body. You've got to learn what that feeling means. And hence, we get to practice all together. And for this year, or next, and the next, we have tons of returning clients to delve deeper and deeper throughout the years. It truly is a unique program. It really is unique. Not everyone goes as deep as we do. And you can only go as deep as not only as you're willing to go, but as deep as I'm willing to go. If I choose for it to be superficial, and if all I know would be how to talk for long distance animals and get generic information, then that's all I could teach you. But you're lucky, we go far deeper. We make this personalized. You get your personalized program. If you're with me today, on the call later, on a replay, you get tons of help throughout this year. You can also make it about you at any time. You can be on live where you have a chance to chat, or you can replay it if there's a time difference. But not just that. You can replay it this week, next month, or next year. You can hear different things depending on the level that you're at or the time that you have. It's not all about today. You can practice as little or as much as you want to practice. And that's the beauty. I encourage you not to taper off, and I encourage you to stay present with us and make a note of all the webinars so that you can be with us as much as possible. We are unique. Let me share with you why we are. One is that it's the real deal. I've heard many people come to us to say they were told to make it up. If you don't get information, make it up. You won't hear me say that. This is not about making it up so that gradually your illusion and your imagination becomes real. That's a whole different aspect. It's not about awakening imagination to get to talk and communicate with animals. That's not the real deal. We're looking for you to connect and communicate, that you understand the differences between your memory and when they come forward, or your word association when you hear things. We're not looking at your imagination or indeed your preconceived ideas. We're looking at the real thing. The real thing that you can have validated for yourself so you know it's true. It's so important to give a true voice to the animals and be authentic. It's so important to keep the reputation good and quality-wise really high for those that are learning. You need to know that you can trust that information you're getting too. And you need to trust that information for others. There's a responsibility within animal communication. For you, there's a responsibility for yourself, for your animals, and for those that you care to share it with. You're going to be asked to be a secretary. You're going to be asked to be many different things. Things that maybe go beyond your imagination. We're going to be exploring your gifts from live animals, if you're with me on the course, long distance. We're going to find out the happy times of the animals or what they need from us. Their scared moments, the anxieties, the lacking of the trust, and more and more. So you put many different hats on when you're an animal communicator. You do become a secretary or a servant on times, or so it feels and so it seems. You're also going to be exploring the medical intuitive aspects of your skills. We look at behavior modification, which truly means becoming a coach, even a counselor, or somebody that steps in relationships, a mediator. You can become that too. You're going to be supporting animals in transition. It will feel like ministry work. And when you connect on the other side, you'll be expanding your horizons to becoming a medium potentially and talking to those on the other side. Many delve into their gifts of finding out if animals are coming back. Is reincarnation possible? Is it in this lifetime or another? As we help those who have been rescued, we help them transition into new homes or overcome grief. We also look at how to connect and communicate with people correctly. Have the respect towards the people. Learn how to deliver information, because that's equally as important as receiving information. In fact, I believe we have 125 plus hours of recordings for you, from teleseminars through to webinars, through to DVDs and CDs. I know there's 125 hours, excluding the DVD meditations, and then the upcoming webinars, etc. Overall, 150 hours worth. You could make this a full-time program if you wished, but most people don't have that much time. And that's the glory. You can study in your own time. You'll find out what time of day best suits you. Is it in the mornings, late morning, afternoon, evening? When does it work when you're not stressed or preoccupied? You can practice at your leisure. You'll learn how to connect, ground yourself, communicate, dialogue. We're really not leaving any stone unturned for you. We're targeting everybody. And this course really is for you if you've always known you've had this gift since you were little and you want help harnessing it. If you believe in Dr. Dolittle and you know it's possible, it's for you. For the healers amongst us, you can expand your horizons, receive more information, and even begin to dial in that you can control it more. For those that are behaviorists and know there's more to it than dominance-based or trust-based training, positive or negative reinforcement, we can expand all of the training. For the horse whisperers that want to know about the mind, telepathy, intuitive riding, it's something for you. It's for anybody. Those working in the zoos, rehab, training, horse riders, horse handlers, dog handlers, police dog handlers, those who have retired or in rescue. There's nobody it's not for. Doesn't matter if you're 7 years of age, that's a good age to start, or you're now retired and you're in your 80s or beyond. There's no age limit here. If you're looking to expand your knowledge or enhance your relationship with your own animals, this is the course for you. We have segments on everything you can imagine, including nutrition, essential oils, and other specialists in the field coming in. You can find those archives and those recordings. So sit back and relax and enjoy it. On top of what we're offering, which you would have seen, because that's maybe what made you sign up, you're not only getting the teleseminars and the webinars and the live sessions and the Q&A sessions, but we're also wanting to keep you going and inspire you. Over the last 2 years, I created a download of information from Animal Communications to inspire people. You're going to be receiving those messages on a weekly basis. We call them inspirational messages from spirit, from the animals. They will land in your inbox on your phone, either through the messaging, I believe, or on our Facebook page. We have a Facebook mentorship page. It's there for you. We're going to talk you through it, through the technical pieces, but know that it's there for you. Those people that are coming to the live course in not too much time now, those are the individuals that will be given an opportunity to put their animals forward. So everybody in the tier 2 gets to practice on the animals from tier 3. We used to call them tiers. I know Vince changed that now, but the live group will put their animals forward. There will be many animals. At the same time, I will be putting animals forward for you to practice on. So there will be healing opportunities, animal communication opportunities, and beyond. Everybody is welcome to put their animals forward for healing, and other people that they know, please put them in the group. You'll be offered the chance to connect and communicate with these animals. There'll be specific weeks that they will be posted and then you'll be asked to put the information up within the week or two. Thus, it's on the same posting, and you can scroll through it afterwards and see what others have said. It will encourage and support you. You'll get the validations from the people that have posted that information, because this is about the validation. You get stronger in your connections. You get more confident with those you're connecting with. You'll be learning those dialogues, how to ground, how to protect yourself too. You'll be learning how to implement the pendulum, the sway test, muscle testing, ultimately known as kinesiology, in different ways to connect through hands-on, hands-off. Everything is here for you, and you have the full time through to, I believe, the end of November to practice. So you can expect the live webinars, and there's going to be interaction with them. Vin's going to explain the technical side and also the new program we'll be implementing to help you. So we can see you, I believe, and you can interact either through the phone or through the webinar. We have the Facebook page for our community. I started Animal Communication. It was about 2001. Ultimately, by 2005, I went professional. You could also arguably say I started in 1997, I believe it was, with the Reiki. But 2001, I began to study it. It took me many years, 2004, to be able to go public with it and offer more and more consultations. Partially time didn't allow. I was occupied being a horse whisperer. And partially development to learn this language and not put the shingle out too early, but to embrace it fully, to have enough experience to feel confident, and also enough experience to not learn on the animals themselves at a good level, because of course you're constantly learning and gaining information, but to really have value for the people and value for the animals. I encourage my students to be accurate. I encourage you to be over 90% accurate to your knowledge before you put shingles out. Over the years, we've discussed how many animals it takes. And it's much like an internship or an apprentice program, depending on the country that you're living in. See, we don't ask the doctors to read a book and go out and perform in the medical industry. You would not be happy if your accountant had merely read a book or listened to some webinars and wasn't accredited. The same with animal communication. It would be easy for people to put out their shingle, just like horse training, and say, I've done a clinic and now I'm an Anna Twinney. But don't do that. You want to be having a great reputation, and you also want to know that you're doing right by the animals with your accuracy. Allow yourself the time. My recommendation would be 1,000 animals at least, 1,000 before you'd go out there to say, I'm a communicator. Not everybody on the call wants to be professional, and that's wonderful too. This is not geared towards professionals. This is geared towards everybody, from those seeking a deeper connection with their animals through to those wanting to change careers or enhance what they're already doing. No matter where you are on your path, we'll have something to offer you. Not this year only, next year and the year after. There's no way you're going to take it all in 1 year. It's impossible. Most minds can't retain it all. And so therefore, you retain a portion, what you're able to hear at that time. Be kind on yourself. Be positive. Don't compare yourself to others. Allow that to be a bar that you can reach. When you see people putting paragraphs after paragraphs on that Facebook page, be inspired. We actually have some professionals joining that group, and you're going to notice that. Be inspired by them. For those who are struggling, allow them to help you. For those who are unsure, gain the experience from others. Ask for the support. You'll get it, but don't give up. Look at getting back up again if you've been knocked down, and allow yourself that chance to explore all that is possible. So our group will include the Facebook mentorship group. It will include the inspirational messages through Facebook and through your phones. It will include these webinars, the DVD. You'll have the gift of the pendulum, the book we're looking to take to a publisher. It's taking longer than expected, primarily because I'd like to get it out there in the world and find the right publisher to do that with us. Bear with us. You won't be forgotten. It will only be better and better. And once it gets published, you will be the first ones to hear, and Vin will let you know how it's going to come about. I think I've probably forgotten a few of the gifts and the offers that we're giving you, to include the meditations developed by Vin, the coined term from meditation and visualization, supports many on their journey to quieten their mind and help them get into that place to be able to connect and communicate with animals. We have so many things on offer. I always encourage you, not only if you're in tier 2 that you stay there, but look at the clinics on offer. There aren't that many workshops this year for animal communication, but we do have workshops in England, Germany, in Denmark. In fact, the mentorship program has gone to Denmark. And so we will be teaching the first 6 days in Denmark in May. If you change your mind and for some reason feel totally inspired to come to our tier 3 starting next week, talk to Vin. He'll upgrade you and you can come. You'll be learning so much more because you'll be in our room, in our front room. So I can help you with your challenges, your obstacles, your gifts, propelling you forward. And we'll have so much fun here at the ranch with our own animals. We've got some new ones here and even more arriving, and you'll have the opportunity to connect and communicate. For those who were tier 3, we welcome you back to tier 3. There's some of you. And for those that are tier 3 and come into tier 2, we welcome you back. And the same for our tier 1s moved into tier 3. Welcome, or tier 2, tier 3. We have something for everybody, from the home study opportunities through to online. Excuse me. And all the way through to coming to our home. Something for everybody. Now, let me take a quick look about what I'm supposed to be telling you. Okay. I could probably and surely go through this whole list of what makes this course different and exceptional. And I could tell you everything from the list where it says, what is animal communication, how the animals convey their messages, what's love got to do with it. I could expand on every single topic and tell you what it means. But I'm not going to do that today. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. If it touched you, that's the very reason you're here. The animal communication changed my life, changed the way I see the world. It allowed me to self-examine more, become a better and better person. It actually blew all perceptions out of the water. And instead of having certain belief patterns, the animals showed me the true direction and the true path, the truth. I feel like society, peers, parents, friends, colleagues have so many opinions that we go along with them. And the more and more those opinions are repeated, it becomes our perception too. The animals change all that. They can guide us on our life's path, show us our destiny if we're willing to listen. if you're not too afraid to follow it, the door will remain open. And it's how interesting is it if we say to somebody, why wouldn't you follow your destiny? Or what's stopping you following your destiny? If you knew that it was a wonderful path, would you not take it? But all too many people, they don't. They are stuck. They don't believe they're good enough. They're under the thumb. They're led by money, or they're led by security. They let their fears get in the way. They doubt themselves too much. But you see, you're not those people because you've taken that leap of faith and you're stepping forward into your power. Don't worry how long it takes or how challenging it can be. I believe it's a different kind of consciousness. Enlightenment too. And enlightenment doesn't make life easier on times. We can still have grief and pain and loss, as well as the joy, etc. And giving a voice to the voiceless isn't always easy, because once you give that voice to that pup, he's going to speak quite loudly. You give the run of the house to that cat, they're going to let you know if you're right and wrong. And you allow your horse an opinion, they are no longer being controlled. Everything changes. That in itself can become a challenge. But if you're ready to take on that challenge, then it's awesome. It's awesome and there's no going back. You don't see them as livestock anymore. You don't see them as ignorant or even dumb. You'll see them as highly intelligent. You'll realize the unspoken words and you'll sense their emotions and their needs. They might even call you home one day. You have to learn to decipher the difference of what is your mind when you see that picture, maybe based on fear or concern or joy or willingness, and what is the animal telling you? It can be a little difficult on times, and maybe that doesn't change, especially with our own. We have to kind of push through that to tell what it is. And that's what makes us human. We can't just climb to the top of the mountain and always know what's wrong with them, emotionally, mentally, or physically. We still have to go through consulting a vet or checking in or having a friend supporting us. We are, after all, attached to our loved ones. But this journey changes who you are in the world. And indeed, it changes what maybe you want to be doing. No longer will you want to stay in that cubicle or endure a life of commuting to work and back 1, 2, 3, 4 hours a day. Maybe you've been in the city and it will encourage you to go to the country. Really, everything changes. Not just that, but who you surround yourself by, the conversations you have, the justifications you once heard or had yourself, all of that changes. When you realize they have hopes, they have dreams, they have feelings and emotions, you can no longer discard it. When you realize that you can talk to the animals and they're not dumb or silenced, and they're not here to be subservient or for us to necessarily dine off of, it changes. Not everybody needs to change and become a vegetarian. Some will find themselves doing that. You can bless your food and still eat meat. But maybe you'll change naturally to say, it doesn't resonate with me anymore, or I find it more difficult. Life definitely changes. When you know you can call in the animals to support you, and you understand that maybe God is sending you a spirit guide, a Reiki guide, an animal guide, a wild animal to be there for you. You realize there's a connection with spirit, with the universe, with God, and you're not alone. Everything changes when you talk to the animals, when you can call them home from outside, when you're worried, guide them like a light of beacon or beacon of light. When you can trick train with greater ease, visualize the outcome, connect with true love instead of dominance and trying to achieve a result. When you see them as partners instead of objects, items, or commodity, everything changes. This is the course that you're embarking on, the course that you have chosen or it has chosen you, no matter where you are on your path. You're going to have a great time. You're going to find that there's a tribe here for you. You are no longer alone. And where you might feel isolated in a village or town surrounded by people, you don't need to be anymore. There's many people out there that believe in animal communication. You need to find them. And so we have a great tribe. I'm pioneering into China, Mongolia, Morocco, pioneering here amongst us in the United States, because there's pockets that believe in animal communication. I'm no longer doing that by myself. We have an incredible tribe that's coming along. That's you. Thousands of people per year listen to the webinars, the teleseminars, and millions are watching the YouTube channel. There's a lot of people intrigued and engaged by it. There's a lot of people exploring it. It takes a hell of a lot of commitment, just like any language does. It doesn't come overnight. At first, you learn the basics, and then you go amongst the natives, and you learn the colloquialisms. The same here. At first, you learn to receive. Then you learn to dialogue, and then you expand from one species to 2 or 3 species, and you go into reptiles. You might even venture into the other side, or reincarnation, and you push your limits and you stretch your limits and you go as fast as you can for your belief systems. That's what this course is about. So we have our tribe. It's beyond the Facebook page. That's a secret or closed group just for you and those that are participating this year. But fear not, that's not the only group. We have our Facebook page, the Animal Communication Facebook page. Many want to follow me personally, so you'll see some posts on mine, Anna Twinney. And if you stay updated with the Anna Twinney Facebook page, you'll see notifications for live streaming, for natural horsemanship, animal communication, and energy healing. I'm hoping to post that also on the individual page, like animal communication and natural horsemanship, so everybody knows. We have over 5,000 followers and group members on these pages each. So lots of people are coming along, and you get an opportunity to see the live sessions too, when it's possible for me to teach and live stream, or if it's possible when I teach and somebody else live streams. So remember that that support group is out there for you. Don't ever feel that you're the only one. There are thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people believing in animal communication, having experienced it themselves. Surround yourself with like-minded people so that you are encouraged and not discouraged as you follow this art and this language. For this is an art and it is a language of love. And you're able to drop into that heart and out of your head and learn more and more. The truth. Ultimately, you're learning the truth of why we're here and what our purpose is.